Welcome back to this episode of Big Apple Breakdown. We are back with the Friday morning mailbag, and we have football to talk about. Today, we'll be talking about the week one matchups with both the Giants and Jets and some nationally. Henry, how are you doing?
Doing great. Feels refreshing. Start of a new era for the Jets. Still need to get past week one before we're officially out of the Rodgers era, facing Aaron Rodgers this week. But it feels like a new chapter of Jets
Yes,
football.
I feel the same way for the Giants. I know technically I said this last time, but the Giants, of course, cut Daniel Jones in November last year. But this is really the first year of the post-Daniel Jones era. Finally moving forward with the new regime at quarterback, and I'm excited to see how this looks. There's been a lot of kind of hype around the Giants, honestly, around the training camp and a little bit of a preseason, so I'm excited to see them hopefully have a better year than years past.
Yeah, we just got a comment on Instagram said, hope Justin's Achilles holds up.
Who said that?
Riley Coy.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, I feel like Justin – I can't remember if back in his Bears, though. Like, I feel like he's not too injury prone, honestly.
He misses a couple games every year just because his playing style. I feel like
I'm trying to remember his Bears because he didn't start fully last year.
Yeah. So. I feel like with the Bears, he missed a couple games every year, but not.
I think you might be right.
Major,
I think you're right.
Nothing major.
So it'll be very interesting to see how the Jets. I saw that a famous their play style is gonna be like ground and pound. I forget what ESPN analyst said this, but that was popped up on my Twitter the other day.
Yeah, I feel like that is the way they're gonna go this year. The only thing is obviously the AVT injury hurts us a lot, but I think that they'll end up pushing Tippmann out to guard and starting Myers. Myers has been he hasn't been too great in his NFL career, but he is Justin Fields' college center. It does give them a pathway for both those guys to play, and I think that this AVT injury is something that's overcomable a little bit. It's not like losing your quarterback or
it sucks, but
it sucks. But
you have the whole season to figure it out. Of course, offensive linemen are very, very valuable, but it is not impossible to replace these guys. You see the Eagles do it all the time. Their guys come and go. Dallas Cowboys guys come and go. So each guy has the right system, right coaching.
Next man up, and season goes on. You gotta.
Yeah, I mean,
play.
Offensive linemen are gonna go down. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Players will go down anywhere, honestly.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a quarterback. I don't like to say like one injury just ruins your season.
It doesn't, because it's football too. Like guys get hurt in football. We saw with the Lions last year. The Lions were so injury riddled, and they still had a good year.
It's also like football's such a sport where like there's 11 guys on the field. Like one guy, that's like one sport. One guy like only. Obviously, those guys have a big impact, but you could win without them. Like a very valuable player. But
the turnover rate's so high. Guys step in every year and become superstars for 2 years and then fall off the face of the earth. So, yeah, that's just our little rant.
Speaking of offensive lineman injuries, so I mentioned this last week with Andrew Thomas is uncertainty, and he still hasn't practiced. There should be an update today, I think, more clear on if he's going to play. But I don't think he's going to play, which is a big blow to the Giants. And there's just something weird and fishy going on with this. This guy had a season-ending surgery in October that was supposed to be a 5 to 6 month recovery, and it's probably month 10 or 11 at this point, and he hasn't been fully practicing. He's been like limited in practice, but it's Friday of week one. I mean, this is a big blow if this guy doesn't play, and even if he does play, I wonder if he will ever get back the Andrew Thomas that was so good for the Giants. So I'm definitely very worried about that as a Giants fan because he's arguably their most valuable piece in offense, even above Malik Neighbors to me, because he kind of is the captain of that offensive line. So I'm honestly a little worried about that. But hopefully, I mean, they've improved the offensive line throughout the years around him. So hopefully they're less reliant on him because I think at this point, you can't just say, oh, we're relying on Andrew Thomas's health because he just hasn't been healthy the last 2 years of his career. So that's just a bad job as a GM, in my opinion, that's the strategy. If that is how they're going down this.
That is kind of like the AVT thing too. Like
Yeah.
he's been hurt so much throughout his young career that it's like for both those guys that you kind
Yeah,
of
unfortunately, yeah, because they're both very talented players. So,
and when they're both on the
like,
field, they're great. But like
mhm.
it's almost like you kind of had to see this coming a little bit.
Yeah,
So
I don't the Andrew Thomas thing is just weird to me because I don't know what's wrong with him.
mhm,
He's just not recovering well, clearly, which
yeah,
is very, very concerning. And this is one of your highest paid players on the team, guy you gave a big money to. So hoping he can get back on the field, but I don't know. So I guess we'll fully get into these games. I guess
we'll
we can
start out with
start.
the Giants.
Yeah, I kind of think the Jets game is the more storyline matchup. So the Giants and Commanders are playing. I did a little research because it feels like the Giants have been going 0-1 every single year, and the Giants are 2-8 in their last Week 1 games in the last 10 years, which is terrible. So that's pathetic. So let's hope we could get a win. I believe those wins were against the Titans when Brian Dable's debut, and then way back in the day, 2016, I want to say the Giants beat the Cowboys in Dallas. So it's been the Giants tend to get off to bad starts. I even saw a friend Justin tweet that the Giants' September record, I think the last 4 or 5 years, is 7-20, which is
Jesus,
just pathetic. So these slow starts have been killing the Giants, really, since at least the end of Eli Mann's career. The 1 year they didn't get off to a slow start was 2022. So let's hope that changes because to me, I don't want to try to over exaggerate this, but with that difficult schedule, if the Giants go 0-2 against the Commanders and Cowboys, their season's already over.
I
Like,
agree. I think it'd
yeah,
be over at that point too, just because that schedule is so stacked, and the NFL getting off to a bad start can just derail your season. I mean, it's unlike any other sport where it's a sprint and
yes, totally.
you stack all these. You don't play a lot of games, and you stack these brutal physical games up into 17 weeks, and 2 or 3 bad weeks
Look at
ruins
the
your year.
Cincinnati Bengals. They tend to always go off the slow starts, and by the end of the year, it feels like wow, this team's rolling, and they've been missing
Hmm.
the playoffs because
Yeah,
it's not like baseball. You can't pull what the New York Yankees tend to do, where they have such bad stretches. Your season's over likely if you have that bad of a stretch. So and now I'm honestly like really thinking Week 1 they might have to win because Dallas honestly last night kind of impressed me. They looked a lot better than I thought they would, and I think they could have won that game if CeeDee Lamb did have a few drops, and maybe I think the delay kind of killed the momentum for both sides of that game, honestly. So I'm
hmm
not gonna because that I feel like that game was treading toward a shootout. So, but Dallas kind of impressed me, so which makes me a little worried for their Week 2 matchup in Dallas. Dallas's home opener. So I'm honestly starting to think like Week 1 might have to be the game.
yeah,
I'm not trying to be hyperbolic about a Week 1 matchup, but with this Giants schedule, you got to pick matchups where you have to steal some games. Like you're not gonna later on the schedule, you're not winning some of those tougher games to me.
yeah. No, Dallas definitely was impressive last night, and I mean they could have used a guy like Micah
Yeah.
Parsons.
Look, that franchise does get a lot of hate, rightfully so. I hate the
Mhm.
Cowboys, but in my lifetime, I don't remember a time where the Cowboys were awful. Like bottom 5 to 18.
The
Like
only
they're always
year, the only
last
year
year
that
was
comes, yeah, the only year that really comes to mind in as far as like bottom of the barrel was the year that the Jets had Fitzpatrick, 2015, where the Jets went 10-6 and missed the playoffs. I remember we beat up on Kellen Moore. He was quarterback. He was playing
oh
quarterback for
wow.
the Cowboys. Yeah,
Romo must have been hurt that year
he
then.
was. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, now I remember this better. Yeah. Kellen Moore, well, yeah, Sate's coach now, so
yeah,
he was so I'm kind of thinking, look, unless Philly, so either I'm not taking it as Philly at a drop off, so I'm going to take it as Dallas got better. So the NFC East is kind of still looking very, very scary. And this week 1 matchup where there's some hype around training camp. A lot of people are picking this as the upset of the week. I've been seeing that a lot. And the last 2 years, the Giants have been embarrassed week 1s. Last year, they got their ass kicked by the Minnesota Vikings, who they were favored in that game. And then, of course, 2 years ago, you'll remember this Sunday Night Football. Giants made the playoffs the year before. You got a Giants-Cowboys matchup. There's some excitement around the Giants. Build on year 2, Brian Dable, get back to the playoffs, and they got blown out 40-0. One of the worst football games ever. Embarrassing at MetLife Stadium. So a week 1 start, a good start is very, very important for me, because if you get your ass kicked, that kills all the momentum you had from August, July. And then if they lose, the media are going to ask Brian Dable, hey, with what you saw from Russell, is Jackson Dart going to come in? They're going to do that week to week if they start losing.
Of course, yeah. I mean, he just has that just standing behind him all day. It's like I don't know. He's just worried. He's got to be worried about his starting spot. And honestly, for Russell Wilson, this is a big deal, because if it doesn't work out with the Giants,
probably done. You're right.
And he's probably in his mind thinking the Giants is my last stop. But he, as a competitor and as a football player, and especially someone who's been so successful in his career, he doesn't want to go out as someone who's just limping to the finish line.
Of course. I think he's looking at this as a bounce back, and it can go that way. But the Giants, that just could go a lot of ways. It could go that way, successful, or it could go sinking ship real fast.
And no one's asking him to be a superstar. They just want him to go out there and be a competent quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants defense should be the leaders of this team. They should be the ones holding teams the not too many points, even though they're playing a very good offense in Washington. But this offense should be a lot better than what we've seen in the Daniel Jones era, even at the end of the Eli years. So Russell Wilson, I've been saying this, is their best quarterback, probably talent-wise, since the end of Eli Manning's career. His last really good year was 2015, if I remember right. So Russell Wilson is coming in, and I think he has maybe we could go through the teams, but I think he might have the shortest leash in the NFL of starting quarterbacks, just because of the emergence of Jackson Dart.
That's interesting.
They're not saying they're going to bench Daniel Jones. I guess New Orleans, maybe.
Yeah.
Is Rattler starting, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
I think Spencer Rattler is starting, but who's coming in for him is my mindset there. So I think he legit might have the shortest leash in the NFL. I think every other quarterbacks are kind of set. I'm just trying to think of the top of my head.
The only thing is, if it's going so bad and so poorly for Russell Wilson, will you want to just make the change and throw your rookie out into the fire? Because
I don't like this idea of just putting him in there because Russell Wilson's bad. I don't like that. Obviously, there has to be some mix of Russell Wilson being bad in order for Dart to start. The Giants are 5-1; they're not putting Jackson Dart in, so there has to be some losing. But
then now also putting Jackson Dart as your number 2 on the depth chart, there's no avenue for if Russell Wilson comes out to a horrible start, there's no avenue to even protect Dart by putting Jameson first. You appointed Dart as your number 2 guy.
And with how bad the quarterbacks have been for the Giants, I just think they don't owe Russell anything. He's not he might be future Hall of Famer, but he hasn't done anything for the Giants. And if I don't I think we'd have to see a whole different bad version of Russell Wilson for him to get benched this fast, though, to me. If he did what he did with the Steelers last year, I think he's fine. I think they'll win some football games. They won't be great. I don't think they'll be a playoff team, but they won't be bottom of the barrel to me. But I'm really starting to put my finger on this game as a game to get off to a good start, because in Dallas is tough. Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs, honestly, I've actually seen people say that could be an upset game, but I can't just feel confident playing the Chiefs.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like
no.
of course not. And then you got the Chargers, so that's four very good teams. And of course you got Week 5 against the Saints, which is their easiest game of the year. They're probably the one game they'll be favored in right now in Vegas. So
Mhm.
I'm very keen on this game. So actually, let's get into my keys. So the Giants went 0-2 against Washington last year. Before that, before the Jaden Daniels came in, they've kind of owned them in this weird era of Giants football where there hasn't been a lot of winning. They've always had Washington's number pre Jaden Daniels. It was weird. It was like the one team Daniel Jones would play well against, but that wasn't the case once Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels came in. I already talked about Andrew Thomas, so who knows what's it's up in the air. If you're interested in that, I think there'll probably be a press conference not too far away from now. But Brian Dable talk about it. Pass rush all off season, all training camp. We've talked about how loaded the Giants defensive line is, specifically the pass rush. They need to get after it against Jaden Daniels right away. I need to see a lot of sacks, like at least 4 or 5. I want to see Abdul Carter again that makes Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, of course, going to be unstoppable. Brian Burns. I want to see all those guys get after Jaden Daniels. That's my main key point on defense.
And this is a great group to go out there to stop Jaden Daniels. You know, he can run around, he's got speed, but the Giants have the
Those
pass
guys are
rush.
athletic, man.
Yeah,
Those
and
those
they have
guys.
the depth. Like
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels got to be out there for every play. The Giants can rotate their pass rush and get after him in a number of ways.
Yeah, and then I think in another intriguing story, this is of course the Commanders' pass offense is probably their strength, and the Giants' pass defense is their strength. Both these teams, I think, are going to struggle with the run this year. The Giants' run defense is kind of just Dexter Lawrence,
Mm-hmm.
so that would be very intriguing. And Dexter Lawrence, obviously, he's a 350-pound nose guard. He can't play every snap. So when he's out there, that tends to be the time when teams try to run the ball down the Giants. So I'm curious to see how that goes because Washington's running back room is kind of rough.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Eckler's is RB1. I know they got some young guys they like, but who knows how much you'll see those guys again in the mix week 1. So I think whoever wins that matchup could really dictate whether it's a good offensive day or not for Washington.
Yeah, and I think the Giants have a good shot of winning that matchup. You know, I think the Giants have a better chance of winning this game than people even giving them credit for. I don't want to say like the Commanders are a really good team, and I don't want to say like last year was a fluke or anything by any means, but they came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go out there and back up the performance they put on at the end of last year. Like that, nothing's handed to you in the NFL. Like the Giants
Of
have
course.
a perfectly good chance to go out there and win this game, I think.
I do too. I mean, I don't want to say I'm feeling confident, but
Mhm.
I think they have a real opportunity to win this game. And my big thing, I keep mentioning before, there's so much positive momentum. Let's not let it get ruined week 1. Like, let's not put up a flat performance out there, and let's continue this momentum. And with Washington, it feels like a lot of people to me are kind of expecting a bit of a sophomore slump from them. They had almost a perfect season last
Mhm.
year from coming out of nowhere. If I remember right, they were projected to be one of the worst teams in football
Yeah.
last year. Made it to the NFC Championship, but you're like they won so many one-score games. That's not gonna like eventually. I don't want to say luck, but it's gonna
Mhm.
run out of winning all those one-score games. So I do think the Giants have a real opportunity to win this game. Even last year against Washington, they lost 2 one-score games to them. So
Yeah.
I
And
don't
I
think.
don't wanna make it seem like we're underestimating Washington. They're a great team and they have a ton of talent, but they and they really put it on at the end of the year last year, but they did win a bunch of one score games. They had a great performance against the Lions, but I feel like I don't know. Every season's different,
Mhm.
and the I just don't know if the Commanders are going to put it together again this year.
Yeah, and I think you got Philly in that division, and then if the Giants are like improved, like some people think, like I think they are improved talent wise. The NFC East is gonna be a dogfight.
Oh yeah.
Because there's really no like easy team then in that division. Because if the Giant, because like Philly's not going anywhere, of course. Washington, they're still a team that we expect. I think at least I expect to make the playoffs still. I don't know about you, but and then Dallas, I don't think Dallas. I think proved last night that they're not going to be as bad as some people think.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's
Dallas is
gonna
such
be a
a
dogfight.
wild card because I don't know. Everyone thinks they're gonna be bad. They still have Dak. They still got CD Lamb.
I don't know if you noticed this, but Dak Prescott, when did he get jacked? He had like a six
Yeah,
pack.
he
I don't know if he. I feel like he slimmed down and put on like got some muscle,
muscle.
but
Yeah,
he looks good. Like he looked really good, like body wise. I
he
was
used to
shocked.
look. He used to look almost like skinny fat, like chubby a little bit.
Your
And now,
quarterback bod. You know, quarterbacks
yeah.
don't need six packs, but
Of course, and they need
he
a
got
little
in
bit of
great shape.
cushion.
He's jacked
Yeah,
now. It was pregame, and he was like they just showed him. He was shirtless. Like whoa, like I didn't know he had that. So I just like Dak's coming in with some revenge. He was hurt last year, and he's still a very capable quarterback. So I do think I'm starting to get higher in Dallas than a lot of people are.
yeah.
But
I think they're gonna go and prove some people wrong. I don't know if they're gonna make the playoffs
I
or
don't think
anything
they're
like
going to
that,
play out.
but I think that they're gonna be better than expected. They're gonna put up a fight. They're not just
I
gonna
don't know if
roll
they're a
over.
last place team though.
Yeah,
That's what like a lot of people have them as. So for the Giants, I don't expect this to be a Cam Scatterbo game at all. I mentioned that I've been mentioning he's been behind in training camp due to some injuries, minor injuries. First game of the year, Tyrone Tracy's of course could be the main back, but I think you'll see Devin Singletary in the mix too. Like, I think a lot of people forget he's still on the team, but the Giants still have him. 2-year deal they signed with him. So they're still he'll probably be the RB2. So I don't think you'll see much of Scat. Um, honestly, in the one preseason game he did play, he didn't really do much. Kind of looked a little slow to me. So I think you got to give him a little bit more time to get ready. I think later on the year he'll fully be in the mix, like Tracy last year. Tyrone Tracy wasn't fully in the mix last year at first. Then he took over the lead back. I still think Tracy will be the lead back all the way this year. So I don't know about so I don't see Scat too much in the game plan. Malik Neighbors, of course, is going to be the biggest priority for the Giants. I think if Russell Wilson wants to get success, target number one as much as possible, get him the ball. I think this could be a really big Neighbors year where he takes a leap. And yeah, I mean, spam Malik Neighbors.
yeah. Just
Really,
force feed
it's your
them. That's
best
what they did
weapon.
last year.
Yep, get him involved in the deep ball. I'm excited to see a Russell Wilson moon ball, hopefully. Hopefully the Giants can get a big plays involved. So the offense, I look to be aggressive because I think Brian Dable and Mike Kafka have weapons and a deep pass game. They just haven't had the luxury in the past.
I agree. I think this passing game is going to look pretty good. You know, you got Neighbors, you got Slayton as a deep ball threat,
Wandell's still there. Yep.
Wandell, Theo Johnson.
Yeah,
Uh,
Theo Johnson should be playing. He was dealing a little bit of injury. So
yeah,
a lot of people
and
like him too. So
yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't follow the Giants as closely as the Jets, but I've been seeing a lot of stuff about him. Uh, that run game, I think, is going to be better than expected. Tyrone Tracy, I think, is going to be pretty good. And yeah, just force feed Malik Neighbors. We saw it last year, and it worked in some games.
yeah, I mean, Malik Neighbors did a lot of things with some bad quarterbacks. So
Mhm.
with Russell Wilson, it should look even better. So I think overall the Giants will be able to put some points on the board. I think this might be a higher scoring game because Washington's got a lethal offense. So I think it's time that we do predictions for this game. You know, we've been talking about football all summer long. I think it's time to finally put some predictions in this game before we talk about the Jets Steelers. So I'll start off first. I think the Giants get upset. I think the Giants are going to win this game 27-23. I think I'm feeling good about the offense moving the ball. I think the pass rush will be able to get to Jaden Daniels. The Washington's still going to put points on the board because that offense is just too talented. But I don't love their defense, and I think the Giants could really open up this season with an upset and get people really excited on this Giants train.
I think if this game turns into a shootout, I just don't think the Giants will keep up.
That's fair.
Uh, and I feel like it might end up being that way. I'm going to take the Commanders. I think it's going to be close most of the game. I think the Commanders are going to pull away. I'm going to take them 35-21.
Oof. If we defense starts off 35 points, oof, that'd be it'll be a rough Monday.
It's a great offense though. So
Yeah, I mean, you're playing a good team. You're playing a very good team, NFC Championship team that has high expectations. So we'll see. Hopefully, the Giants get the win in Week 1 because then, like, that positive energy just goes away after a bad
yeah.
performance and a loss. So let's move on to the Jets and the Steelers. Henry, do you want to talk about the key storylines of this game? Of course, we know
So
the big one.
obviously, the big storyline is Rodgers returning to Jet Life Stadium.
Ooh, Jet Life.
He proclaimed it as Jet Life Stadium when he came over. You got Rodgers versus Fields. Another Week 1 game for Aaron Rodgers at MetLife. We saw how that turned out a couple of years ago. Not too great. I mean, obviously, hopefully that doesn't happen again. I still like Aaron Rodgers. This is a page turning year for the Jets. We're turning the page, getting that last era out. I mean, we all appreciate Aaron Rodgers for coming over and trying to revive the franchise. We can't forget he had options to go wherever he wanted pretty much, and he chose the New York Jets. It wasn't like he was an old man hobbling to the finish line and took what he could get. He literally went into his darkness retreat and envisioned himself carrying a Lombardi, walking off the field with the New York Jets. Like,
so
he wanted to come and save the franchise, and it just didn't work out. So you can't really fault him for that. Justin Fields obviously also going up against his former team, and that is the main storyline they're talking about on TV right now. But I think the biggest storyline when you dig deep into this game is the Jets' young O-line, specifically their tackles, how they're going to get tested this week with TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith.
This is kind of it's about the Rodgers thing, a little sidetrack. So you tend to have gratitude towards these players, like specifically with Juan Soto. You were one of the people that was like, I'm not going to boo him when he came back to Yankee Stadium. Would you personally boo Aaron Rodgers?
Personally, I would not. And the Juan Soto thing,
Come on, Henry.
I've taken a little bit of a different stand. Juan Soto, I would and I will for the rest of my life boo him. The Aaron Rodgers thing is different though, because he came back to meet with Aaron Glenn fully on board, saying even you could be skeptical saying maybe he's not fully on board because he said stuff in the past and doesn't follow up what he says, but he still wanted to be a New York Jet, and Aaron Glenn, ballsy move by him, looked him in the eyes and said, "Nope, we're good." 30 seconds into the meeting. So it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. He didn't betray the franchise like Juan Soto did. And also, he came here and he did all he could. His body gave up on him in the first 4 plays. It was tragic the way that went. But you look back on that, you rewatch some of the Hard Knocks highlights or something, and it gives you some nostalgia, some throwback to, wow, we had a lot of hope during this time, and that it was a good time. Even though it didn't last long, it was a great summer.
Sometimes that is just sports. Like, management wanted it, head coach wanted it, quarterback wanted it, and it just doesn't work out sometimes. It's unfortunate that it happened to a franchise like the Jets, because I think a lot of Jets fans feel like, oh, of course, like, why us? Like, of course this would happen to us. And the unfortunate reality is just went as bad as possible. There were some, like, rumors about a little toxic stuff, but I don't think it was a bad relationship necessary. I think it just didn't go well. They weren't winning, and of course, when you're not winning, there's not going to be too many happy people. I think there were actually more drama with the Packers than there were with the Jets, easily, with Rodgers.
Yeah, obviously, losing creates toxicity. It's any team that loses a lot in a season, they have things going on in the media,
Mhm.
everything spiraling. Losing is not good, and winning cures everything. And the Jets didn't
They didn't
get
win.
back to that point. And yeah, I have some problems with things Rodgers has said in the media, blaming other people in games and things like that. But I think overall, most people in the Jets organization still have great gratitude and a great relationship with Rodgers just from his time there. And it's a business. You turn the page on it. Aaron Glenn, I think he made the right move just to
I
get
do
on
too.
to
It was the
that
right move.
because with Rodgers as great as the hope was that he instilled in Jets fans, it was a circus with him. There was new things every week. The Diana Rossini Twitter tweets every single day. She was just looking for dirt to dig up on the Jets. She had a mole in there and was just tweeting stuff about the Jets, making them look bad, causing drama, causing everyone to perceive that there was so much drama in there. And I don't think there was as much as people are saying. It's just you you lose and people get unhappy.
Of
Like,
course. Yeah. Um, so now let's actually talk about this game. And I actually want to mention this. I actually think this is like, I think when people turn their TV on, you're gonna watch your team at 1 o'clock if they're playing. But if you're putting another TV game on, I think this is the game. If you look at the 1 o'clock slate, this is definitely the most intriguing game to me by far. And I think you can argue it's maybe the most intriguing the most intriguing game of the day, not including the Sunday night game. It's either this or Packers Lions.
mhm,
So I'm excited for this matchup because it's football. It's tough because it's not like other sports where you visit every arena. So you don't always get the former players going back to the stadium, they like their old team. Like, for example, Aaron Rodgers isn't yet to be to Lambeau, and I don't think he ever will be. I think the Steelers play the Packers at home this year.
they do.
Um, Tom Brady actually did end up going to Gillette, but my point is that doesn't always happen because just the way the football schedule is.
Mhm.
So I think it's cool that you're getting this matchup of a former player. Apparently, he literally just left week 1, going back to his old team's stadium with a new team. So I think this is a really cool matchup week 1. I'm honestly a little surprised this wasn't a nationally televised game.
Yeah, I'm happy that it's not takes a like
Yeah.
because yes, it's a big storyline and that's why people are tuning in, but I think that they're overstating the storyline a little bit. I don't think that obviously us fans and media personnel are talking about
Yeah.
it, but I don't think that they're thinking about it as much as we are. I
Yeah. You're right. Like, because like this, like on paper, this isn't the best matchup of the week. Like, I
yeah,
think the Monday night games more intriguing. But for me, like, I'm the type of person I look for stories in these nationally
of
televised
course.
games. What you're talking about pre and post game, and there's a story to this game. There just is.
And,
You can't say that
and
about every game.
yes, and I think because I think Roger still has great thoughts about the Jets franchise. I think he really enjoyed his time here. And I honestly think the only person who he really wants to stick it to this weekend is Aaron Glenn. I don't think I think all his other relationships in the Jets organization are pretty good. Obviously, it got kind of testy with Woody Johnson towards the end there, but I think that really he probably has some animosity towards Aaron Glenn, and that's really the only personal vendetta he has.
Yeah, I
Coming
also
into
think he's looking to prove it to himself. He'll never say that
yes,
publicly, but these you always want to know you still got it, and I think he wants to prove it to Steelers Nation. The Steelers are a franchise like the Yankees, the Lakers, a franchise where they don't care what you did before when you were great for other teams. Like LeBron James, when they went to the Lakers, they didn't care what he did before. It's one of the
of
greatest
course.
players ever. They need to see him win in a Lakers uniform. Rodgers got to prove it to the Steelers fans, or they'll have such a bad taste in their mouth because one, he beat them in the Super Bowl, and if he's bad for them, uh, it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be uglier than it was for the Jets, in my opinion. Because look, the Steelers fans hated Russell Wilson, and he led them to the playoffs. He wasn't bad for them, but if Rodgers is a disaster, it's gonna get ugly fast. I
Yeah,
think worse than the Jets situation.
that's a luxury that those great franchises have, is that a great player comes over and the fans are like, oh, whatever, like prove it to us.
Mhm.
Whereas Rodgers came over to the Jets, were
It's
bowing
almost the
down
other
to
way
him,
around. Prove it
giving
to
him
me.
the keys,
Yeah.
and like when KD and Kyrie came to the Nets, like
Mhm.
same thing there. Like it's these badly run franchises don't get better because they don't change like their mindset. They don't change the way they treat superstars. Like we literally were bowing down to Aaron Rodgers, being like, "Please come and save us."
Mhm. But I think Justin Fields has something to stick to. I mean, this is of course. I think publicly he always said the right things when he got
Mhm.
benched. He's like, I didn't play well enough. But he's got to be a little pissed off. I think last year he led the Steelers to, if I remember right, was it
4-2.
4-2? Yes, and they chose Russell Wilson over him. Of course, he was never the starter. Wilson was hurt at first, but then I think Wilson was healthy for a little bit, and he was the backup for like a few games, if I remember right.
I think for a game or two, and
Yes,
then they turned it over to him. But yeah, if you're looking for the quarterback that has a vendetta against the other team in this
Fields.
matchup,
Yeah,
it's not Rodgers, it's Justin
yeah.
Fields. He, although his play wasn't great last year with the Steelers, he got them out to a 4-2 start, a winning record, and probably could have continued that success a little bit, even though it was an ugly way of playing, and it probably would have continued to be an ugly way of playing. He has to be sitting there thinking, "Wow, uh I'm 2 games over 500, 6 games in, and
I just got
they're
benched. Yeah.
benching me." Like,
Yeah, of course, and he's got to be like, they didn't choose me. The Jets chose me. I think that's what led him leaving the Steelers. Steelers, I think, had interest in bringing him back. What was reported, and he felt betrayed. Went to the Jets, and now he wants to stick it to them week one. Hey, you could have
yeah,
had me. You got and that you got 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. You could have had me, and then ball out.
yeah.
So hopefully that happens. I think this is going to be an interesting game. I think the Jets literally might pass the ball 20 times, especially if they get the lead. Fields might have less than 20 pass attempts.
See, just because what we've been talking about all year or all summer with how this is gonna be a run-heavy offense, this is also just the worst case scenario of who the Jets are going up against. Such a great run, just a great D line in general, great run defense, great pass rush. I think it's going to be very hard for the Jets to get anything going on offense, and that run game might keep stalling out. You might get a lot of third and longs, and then you might have to pass the ball 20
Yes.
plus times.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, the Steelers are gonna they might have seven in the box. Like
yes,
they you're
which
gonna have to get some pass, and you got a great weapon with Garrett Wilson, and I think there's a cool little bit of matchup. Jalen Ramsey's obviously older, but you got a Garrett Wilson, Jalen Ramsey matchup, and I think I think you're gonna see you got to take your shots. I mean,
mhm,
the Steelers are gonna play the run because why wouldn't you against the Jets? And you got to prove it with the arm.
yes, and just like going back to what I started saying before, this is a honestly nightmare matchup for game one of the season for the just young Jets O line. Not nightmare. They're just going to get tested early, and we're going to see how they sink and swim against probably the best D line in the NFL. Uh, Obviously, you got AVT injured, but Cam Hayward the other day or yesterday didn't practice. There's some sort of contract dispute going on there. Mike Tomlin thinks that he'll be there, be ready to play for this game on Sunday. But you're going against TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Cam Hayward, where you got Josh Myers, who hasn't been great in his NFL career, playing center. You got Joe Tipman pushed out to guard, and you got a rookie and a second year tackle in Olu and Armand Membu. So this line's going to get tested early. Justin Fields is going to get tested early. They know Justin Fields' tendencies from him playing with them last year, but Justin Fields also probably knows this defense pretty well, going up against it every week, every day in practice last year.
Yes. So I don't know. I'm excited for this matchup. I think you might see some bad blood come out. I think you could get some pushing and shoving. maybe similar to the Cowboys-Eagles game yesterday. Maybe
Mhm.
it's not an historic rivalry, but I think there's definitely a little bit of tension to this game, which gets me excited because like this isn't a divisional matchup. There's no reason for these teams not to like each other, but I think there's
Mhm.
definitely going to be a little bit of tension in this game.
Of course. And then as far as for the Jets defense, I honestly think the Jets defense, if their offense doesn't turn the ball over and doesn't put them in bad positions, I think this Jets defense can go out there and have a great day. Besides DK Metcalf, the Steelers need someone else to step up. I think Sauce Gardner is going to go out there, prove people wrong from his season last year, get back to form, shut down DK, and then after that, you need someone else to step up. You have an old Aaron Rodgers. They're going to try to establish the run game, but the Jets' run defense with Quinnen Williams and Harrison Phillips, I expect them to stand up and not allow that to happen. So I think that this is going to be an ugly defense-driven game, and we'll see. But I think the Jets have a path to victory if they don't turn the ball over and they
Mhm.
sustain good possessions. If they don't do that, the Steelers might actually put up 40 points and win by 40. I'm not
Yeah,
joking.
the the Jets have they have like one game plan. They got a ground and pound, get off the field and get off the field on defense and keep the ball on offense. Like that sounds very simple, but there is a way for them to win games, and it is a very good way of winning when it works. And they got to stick to that game plan. But the second they get behind, when it's later in the second half, can they adapt?
Yes,
That's going to be a big question mark. We'll have to see. That's just, and I think you're going to have a lot of people like me that just don't believe in Fields' arm, but
mhm,
there might come down to it where he needs a big 2-minute drive. And of course, last year for the Jets, it always felt like every 2-minute drive they lost, whether it was defense
yeah,
or offense. They couldn't get the touchdown. They couldn't get the stop.
mhm.
So I think that's something big for the Jets because I mean last year literally felt like they lost so many games just
So
off
many
of
close
2-minute drives.
games,
Yes.
especially I want to say it was sometime after week like 7 or 8. They had beside not counting the 49ers game, and there was one other game that they lost pretty handily. They had a path to be like 5-2 after the first 7 games or
Yes.
something,
They
and
lost a lot of close games.
they just blew games. The Denver game comes to mind. The Minnesota game in London comes to mind. Like,
Colts later on in the year, I remember.
yes.
That was a bad
So,
one. But so we'll see. I think DK Metcalf and DK Metcalf and Sauce Gardner is going to be a matchup that we're going to see tested a lot. I think, of course, DK wants to prove the Steeler Nation just like Aaron Rodgers. I think they're going to look for him. Of course, you trade away George Pickens and DK is your number one now. And I think both Aaron Rodgers, I think wants to prove that he's still got the gunslinger arm. And I think you're going to see that matchup tested a lot. I love one-on-one matchups in football, whether it's receiver, corner, offensive lineman, defensive
mhm.
lineman. This could be a fun matchup to see.
And then if Sauce does shut down DK, I think that's a great path for this defense being successful because the Steelers don't have that many other weapons
No,
unless they
Fryermuth, they
can
got
unless they can really establish the run. They have Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, uh they got Scotty Miller on that roster.
wow, Scotty Miller.
So
The
also
receiving room's a little rough after
yeah,
DK.
also a little stat I want to give. The Jets are 1-3 against Aaron Rodgers in his career.
They beat him last time though.
They beat him last time, coming off the heels. I think that was the game that showed Aaron Rodgers, got him thinking a little bit. Like, I look what they got going on over there. I don't know if you can see right behind me. That's the Sauce
The
Gardner
Sauce
picture
Gardner cheesehead, yeah.
wearing the cheese head, where he went and took it off a Packers fan's head. The Packers had played the Giants the week before in London, and they chose to not take the bye week after the London game. Said, "Oh, we'll play the Jets," and the
I didn't know
Jets,
that. Okay.
yeah, and the Jets went out there and proved something to them. And yeah, so last time they played Rodgers, they came out victorious. Rodgers had a bit of a down year that year, and he's not going to be his old MVP form
He
And I
really
think
hasn't been great since that 2021 last
yeah,
MVP year.
last year it's actually kind of funny because that's one of the better Jets QB seasons,
Ever.
but he still wasn't like his
Now,
complete form. So
he definitely you could definitely tell there was a slippage. I think the deep ball was something that just wasn't there like it used to be for Aaron Rodgers.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the he's Rodgers in his prime, these mobile plays, like these out of the tackle box plays that makes great plays. He just wasn't confident in doing that.
Mhm.
He stayed between the tackle box a lot. I remember last year
And his
in the pocket.
mobility coming off the Achilles was definitely not the same.
It's definitely showing. Yeah,
So
he can't move. I mean, like there were times where it literally felt like he couldn't move last year.
there's videos from Steelers training camp where he's doing some of those like shuffling drills, like the three cone, not the three cone, but like where you're like shuffling, trying to like
Mhm.
mimic evading pressure. He looks slow and old.
Yeah.
So
So is it time to pick our winners for this game?
yes, sir. All right, I'm gonna go first. I am going to pick the Jets,
Okay.
17-14. I think the Jets defense is gonna do enough. I think that they're gonna sustain two good drives. It's gonna be 14-14. They're gonna lead a 2-minute drill type thing, and Nick Folk, the Jets legend, is going to kick the game-winning field goal. He's back.
I see. I'm gonna go the Steelers. I think this Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers gets his lick back. I think there's Aaron Rodgers Steelers era is off to a good start. I got the Steelers win this game 24-14. I think they're gonna get a bit of a head in the first half, and I don't think the Jets offense is gonna be able to get back into it. I think DK Metcalf's gonna have a big day, and I think we're gonna hop on here Sunday night and scream our heads at Sauce Gardner for not showing up after the big contract extension.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
The thing that I think is funny is if the Steelers lose, Aaron Rodgers is gonna play it off as just another game, whatever. Because the Jets are also because
I think it's
Aaron
an
Glenn's
ugly world if the Steelers lose. I'm not gonna
Aaron,
lie. For
Aaron
Aaron
Glenn
Rodgers.
Aaron Glenn is not going out there to try to get revenge for anything or whatever. But if the Steelers win, I think that's an ugly world for the Jets because Aaron Rodgers is gonna make it known in the media something that yeah, I beat the Jets.
If the Jets win this game, I think my opinion of this Jets team might change. This will be a big win for me. This is an emotional game, and if they win this game, I think it just shows a lot of character and heart for this team. In Aaron Glenn's first game, I think it'd be a great start to the Aaron Glenn era. Of course.
Agreed, and it'll be setting the tone for a great era in Jets history.
All right. Should we move on to our mailbag questions before we
Yes,
get
sir.
out of here?
Yeah.
Where?
Just quick couple questions.
This one first, we kind of mentioned this, but should the Jets boo Rodgers? Look, I'm kind of on the side, like, be a fan. Like,
Yeah.
I think it could go either way because Henry did have some very good points where, like, of course, like, you have your Aaron Rodgers media stuff, but it's not like this relationship was that bad. You guys they just didn't win. That's literally what it came down to. They just weren't good. So sure, he'll get booed. He's gonna get booed. That's just part of being a fan.
I think the bad relationship was more like Rodgers and Saleh. And if Saleh was still there, which there's no reason he should ever still be there, I still don't think you would see people booing Aaron Rodgers. I think it would be less likely people would boo Aaron Rodgers in that situation. People are definitely gonna boo him.
Well,
Now,
you're either booing or cheering. Like in this situation, they're not cheering for him.
Yeah, there's not much to cheer for, but it just didn't work out. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think most of the times these players get booed unless like the divorce is okay. You win a championship with that team. That's the time where they get cheered, and he's not going to get cheered. He's going to get booed. Like
if he won a championship with the Jets,
okay, obviously that's different
because
because
it's much different than any other franchise.
Yes, he won like 4 games.
Yeah.
All right. A little bit of a Yankees question here. Will Anthony Volpe be the Yankees starting shortstop on opening day 2026? I'll let you answer this one first.
I'm still leaning that he will be. We'll see. We'll see like what moves they make this offseason. It's hard to predict who will step in and take that role, but just the way his contract works right now, and the control the Yankees have over him, I just don't. They're obviously not sending him down. Boone made some questionable comments, saying, "In what world does a guy like that get sent? Does that guy get sent down?" Uh, Probably this one where he's not performing, just not performing, and his offensive struggles are obviously bleeding into his defense. So I think in this is a perfectly good world to send a guy like that down, but he's still going to be on the roster just because you don't have other options right now.
He's going to be their starting shortstop most likely. I'm like 99% sure. And this honestly is too early to tell because with sports in general and just like baseball, where these answers are really, really clear is playoffs. That's just when the bread and butter is made for contracts. Look at guys' contracts. If you see a mediocre guy get a big contract, he played well in the playoffs. That's just how it works. And he actually played well in the playoffs last year. As much slander as we give him, he actually, if you're looking at history, he actually played well in the playoffs last year. So if he has a good performance in the playoffs, then there's no reason they're getting rid of him.
Exactly. He had a couple of big hits the last few days. Not big.
He's been playing better.
He's been playing better, and I have a sneaky feeling that he could maybe turn it up and get back to how he played last playoffs, because he was really good last playoffs.
Yes.
And if you have him hitting the way he did last year in the playoffs, and you have Judge step up for the first time in his career in the playoffs, and you have that three-headed monster pitching rotation, they could make a run.
I know. Now that
it all depends on the bullpen.
Yes. Now that we're talking about the Yankees, I think I might be back. I think like I was in July. It was rough. I was getting so pissed off. They were making me lose my mind. I was saying this team's not doing anything, but this lineup is just deeper than last year and better, because last year, whenever I would watch the Yankees, it felt like, all right, if Judge and Soto or Stanton don't drive guys in, no one else is stepping up. And this lineup has so much depth, really, besides Volpe in that shortstop position. And Wells actually been playing a lot better recently.
Yeah, he is.
But I would say Wells and Ryan McMahon's actually even turned it on. So,
yeah.
But Trent Grisham has 30 home runs. Bellinger's on his way. Jazz is on his way to that. Stanton would be way on his way to that on pace-wise. Aaron Judge is the American League MVP. This lineup's loaded from top. Ben Rice is an awesome hitter. And then you got Ryan McMahon. Paul Goldschmidt against lefties is still awesome. This lineup's just stacked. This rotation, you got Cam Schlittler coming in, who just changes everything for me with this rotation. But the bullpen, man, that's something that should be a strength. When they made those trades, I made a video. The Mariners GM literally said playing the Yankees bullpen is going to be hell, and it just hasn't been good. And I don't know why. Like, I can't blame Brian Cashman for this. Like, we all think it's loaded. Like, you traded for the right guys. These guys got to step up. Exactly.
And also, I mean, who does the blame go on? Maybe Matt Blake, the pitching coach, but he's turned so many guys into gems. I don't know, because the Yankees get superstar relievers and they
find superstars
hold under pressure, but they get these projects and they come out and pitch amazing. The thing that has really been confusing me for this Yankee season is that, yes, they have so many great individual players, guys stepping up, like Carlos Rodon, how bad his Yankee tenure had been to this point, stepping up, playing great. You have Bellinger playing great, Trent playing great. These guys are outperforming what we even thought they would do. And Ben Rice, Goldschmidt's playing well, Jazz, obviously you got Judge and Stanton. So many great individual players. I just listed off like 7 or 8 guys, and the results just have not been there team-wise.
I mean, like,
they're turning it up, but the season as a whole, these guys have all been having great seasons.
They've blown so many games. I saw some like, they can project wins and losses.
Yeah.
The Yankees should be 83 and 56 before yesterday's game I saw. And Toronto was like 7 games below that. Devin Williams is responsible for 9 losses. I saw this crazy stat.
That's
insane. 9 losses. That's unreal. I actually want to go. Carlos Rodon is a guy that we've been hard on in the past. And really, I think like I'll take the L. I was wrong. This guy's been awesome for the Yankees this year. He's been one of the better pitchers in baseball. And that first year, he just had such a bad taste in people's mouth. He had a good season last year. He's had an elite season this year.
Yes.
Elite.
He even admitted that his first year was a disaster with the injury.
Yes.
Then coming back and just not playing up to what he expected for himself and what Yankee fans expected for him. And even last year wasn't good really at all. He's kind of like
he wasn't great last year. His ERA was like 4.5, I believe, but he was very capable still.
Yeah, but this year he's put it all together and he's gotten control of like honestly, because he would have what it was last year is he would have a good few innings, and it would be like, oh, this is finally his start that he's going to go out and pitch well, and then something the opposing team would get a hit or something, he would give up a home run, and then he would just, you could see it in his face, like his demeanor totally changed. He was nervous, worried, and just like scared out there. Like,
yeah.
And he would get emotional. He would he would miss a pitch and start yelling or you would see him just like lose confidence in himself. And now we saw it last night really with that Ryan McMahon missed call where he caught the ball and dropped down the transfer. That would have been a perfect example for Rodon in the past to wilt under the pressure and lose himself, but he locked in and he made some of his best pitches after that point.
It feels like he's fully settled in, comfortable now being a Yankee. I think it took him time, which that happens sometimes in sports. It took him some time to adapt to being a Yankee, and in year 3, you're seeing the Carlos Rodon the Yankees paid for. And honestly, in the playoffs, this is like last year he had that dominant start against Cleveland game 1, and his other starts were okay. Some of them weren't like, it wasn't like awesome starts, like a Garrett Cole type performance, but I believe in the playoffs. And I said this to you in text. Imagine the Yankees had Garrett Cole still.
Oh my gosh.
He's the best. He's probably the best playoff pitcher. That's like a guy I still trust more than most pitchers in the playoffs.
I think also another point for point to Rodon's success, he's really embraced being a Yankee this year more than he ever has. Yes. I forget. I think it was a Fox game where they were interviewing him before the game, and they were talking to him about Cam Schlittler and his success, and he's almost joined Garrett Cole. Him and Max Fried have almost joined Garrett Cole the way Garrett Cole takes young guys under his wing and mentors them. He was going in depth talking about Schlittler's start against Tampa, I believe, where he had the perfect game through like 6 innings or whatever, and just like talking about him as if he's a coach or something, watching every pitch so intently. And that kind of leadership on the pitching staff is great. It gives Will Warren talked about how those 3 guys do that for him, and it gives those young guys confidence where you have these superstar players who they don't need to be doing that. It just instills a good vibe, good leadership, and makes your whole pitching staff more confident, I think. And I think it's something small, but it leads to big success.
Yeah, I gotta read you a funny text that my dad sent me about the Yankees. So I don't know if you remember, in the beginning of the year, he said the Yankees are gonna have more home runs this year than last year. And we like laughed at him. Crazy. The Yankees already have more home runs than last year.
Yeah, I remember him saying that. And we're like, you're crazy.
We're like, that's crazy. I mean, last year was just such like a 2-headed monster that it's like, it's kind of unfortunate because if you think about it, if last year's team and this year's team could have combined in some ways, it would have been the perfect mix. Last year's team just needed more depth. I mean, like last year's team had Anthony Rizzo starting at first base, who's not an MLB first baseman anymore. Imagine they just had Ben Rice, which I don't know if Ben Rice was ready last year, so that one I'm not too bad about. The one that bothers me is Trent Grisham not playing because the Yankees just had this guy on their bench never playing, and Trent's an awesome center fielder. I see no reason why he couldn't fit in at left field, or you could even move there and Judge to left field at that point. So that's the one that's going to bother me, I think, for a while. When I think about the Yankees' past teams, I think 2024 will haunt me forever. Like time to time, I still think about it. I don't think it's going away soon.
I mean, I definitely see your point to that. I just don't. I just think it's
easier said than done. Like
we could sit here and say, "Oh, we had this great piece in Trent Grisham and didn't use him," but when he played last year, he was good and he had some good moments with the bat, but he wasn't going to do what he's been doing this year. He saw his opportunity this year with Soto leaving, knowing that he would have an expanded role on this team, and he fully took advantage of it. There was a spot for him last year with Verdugo's struggles, but they were not. The Yankees were so hesitant to move off of Verdugo.
Yes, which that's just, I think, a problem with this organization. They have there's someone that they guarantee a starting spot in March, and they don't replace them really, no matter how bad it gets. Really, so
yeah,
it's just kind of reality. I mean, they did try to replace Verdugo. They tried with Jason Dominguez last year, but they just had a potential fit in center field. So
I said Domingo. Dominguez just wasn't ready.
He's still not ready.
And the
Yankees with what they're doing.
Yeah, the Yankees are taking a good approach with him as opposed to Volpe.
I think it gets a little interesting because I personally still think Jason Dominguez is going to be a very, very good player, and I think the Yankees should look to keep him. But there is a scenario where, next year you bring back Bellinger and Grisham, and there might not be a spot for him in the team. This is off-season talk, so I'm not going to go too deep on this. But the last question here that I don't think we really hit on was, so we talked about the bad umpiring, and should people that publicly show support for an MLB team should people that publicly show support for an MLB team be allowed to become an MLB umpire? So the backstory to this is, if you've been watching the Yankee series, I don't know the name off the top of my head. I'll have to look it up.
Brian Wilson.
Yes, as the umpire, Brian Wilson has been horrible. And sociopath Yankee fans did some deep dive stalking and found this guy wearing a Red Sox shirt in a bar or something, probably before he became an umpire. I don't know. But yeah, that's bad that that's out there, because do you believe, I don't think this guy's rigging games. I think he might have just had a bad day and a bad series.
Sorry, I got his name wrong. Brian Walsh, not Brian Wilson. Okay. Brian Wilson is that closer with the giant beard who played for the Giants.
But do you believe this guy's rigging games? I don't believe that stuff.
Hey, I don't think he's purposely rigging games, but think about it. Think about it. If you ever became an MLB umpire, no matter what, you could say all you want that you have no bias, whatever, but you have an inherent bias because you're a Yankees fan. We grew up as such passionate Yankee fans, and I don't know the extent of his Red Sox fandom. He could maybe have been visiting Boston on a weekend and went to the bar with his buddies and wore a shirt. That could be the extent of his fandom in that scenario. But if you are a fan and support a specific team, you have an inherent bias. If you were umpiring a random, let's say it was Red Sox versus Royals game, and you blow a call against the Red Sox and Alex Cora starts chewing you out, starts getting on your case, inherently you might be like, oh, this is actually great, and just keep blowing them.
This kind of happened in the NBA. So if this keeps up, the MLB will investigate this, because Eric Lewis, doesn't do NBA games anymore. Pretty much, if I don't even remember. It was a Lakers Celtics game. There was an obvious foul on LeBron at the buzzer. Don't call it. Laker fans, like Yankee fans, are psychopaths. They do some deep diving. Turns out this guy is taking selfies with his family, wearing Boston Celtics gear, all
Yes,
that stuff. And then there was some crazy research that the Lakers were like 2-20 when this guy refs them, and he doesn't do NBA games anymore.
that's crazy.
He did an investigation, so if it gets bad enough, they will look into it, and like they will figure out if this guy's actually has bias, because that stuff there's no room for that in.
Yeah, it ruins the integrity of the game. Like you can't have that.
Yes, officials
As
have
much
so much power,
Yeah, as
and
much as I hate the Red Sox and Astros and all these teams, I wouldn't want this to happen to them just because I wouldn't
yeah, of
want it to
course.
happen to my team. And I'm the last person to ever blame anything on an
I don't try to do it
official.
either. I think it's
Yeah,
such a lame excuse.
but that if you looked at the umpire report card for that game where he blew all the strike calls, not yesterday, the day before, game 2 of the Houston series, at his umpire report card, they come out with these for every game. He favored the Astros 1.2 runs with his
That's
calls. He
that's
missed 23 calls, and 15 of them went against the Yankees. And the Yankees ended up losing that game by one run.
mhm.
Also, there's other things you could look at in that game where that caused the Yankees to lose. I think leaving Giancarlo Stanton out there in the field late in the game
The
wasn't,
bullpen just blew it too.
and their bullpen just blew it. Yeah, there's
Sure.
other factors, but when you can do a dive into the statistics and see that doesn't make you feel good.
I also think Devin Williams' control was a huge issue that game. He
Yeah.
was just not locating well. And sure, some of those could have went the other way, but I don't like when you like baseball arguing balls and strikes is tough. Like it's such a human nature sport. It's every pitch that you're not gonna get it right. That's just the reality of the game.
Mhm.
And I agree. I don't like blaming officials. It's such a lame excuse. And there's so many other reasons for why teams lose. And like, look, like Camilo Doval was balked. If he doesn't do that, the Yankees have the game tied. Which that's a guy. First off,
He didn't. That was a bad ball call, though.
he's done it multiple times though.
That's true.
And that guy, that's another that's been terrible. Like, of course, the big talk's Devin Williams whenever you talk bad Yankee bullpen pitchers, but Doval has been bad just since we've traded for him. Like, he has not been able to step in, like, and find a role for them at all.
Yeah. Also, even that missed call yesterday where he called it a drop on Ryan McMahon, it was obviously on the transfer. He had a bad angle, but that's something that's got to be reviewable. I mean, like, come
Yes.
on. Like, it was
It
so
was
obvious. It was
clearly a catch.
textbook on the transfer. He literally was transferring it to his hand and dropped it. Like, you could say all you want that, oh, he had a bad angle of it, but
No, that's bad. That's just
MLB's got to step in and review that.
So I wonder if they will. I'm sure they're doing this stuff behind the scenes because I don't think it's I don't know how much of a big thing it is. Like, look, we have bad days at work.
Yeah.
Umpires do too. It happens. It's frustrating, but that's just life. So I don't think this guy's rigging games. I hope not. That's just really bad for the league if that's actually happening. And just so this might be a hot take, but I don't think like umpires in any sport should be a fan of that sport. Like
Yeah.
if you're working that specific role that you're choosing, it's almost like you shouldn't be a fan of the sport.
Or, I mean, there are a lot of people who get into umpiring stuff. They're a fan of the sport, but they don't have
You're
a team.
choosing that
just,
lifestyle. Like,
yeah, they're just like honestly like a true like student of the game. Like,
that's
they just
like
love ball.
I just don't like it's against human nature not to find something to cheer for. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're a fan of the sport, like I don't know. Like, if you're choosing that lifestyle, I think it's almost like you gotta not be a fan of the game. That's just my opinion of it.
Yeah.
Of course, easier said than done. Like, because you want to try to work at something you like doing. So I don't know. But my point is, I don't. You shouldn't like that. Is bad that you're just finding this guy in a Red Sox shirt at a bar.
Yeah.
I don't know. First off, I don't know how stupid you can be if you're an umpire taking pictures in a bar. I don't know if that was before he became an umpire. He looked kind of old still in that, so I don't know.
Yeah. So,
But I think we got everything wrapped up here. So, thank you guys. We'll be back Sunday night to talk about the Giants and Jets, and maybe even Yankees could get back in first place with a sweep or even a good series there for only one game behind. So big Yankee series too. So
yes, sir. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on Instagram, come over to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I mean, we got big things coming. A lot of content coming this NFL season. MLB playoffs. So yeah, stay tuned.
thank you guys. Have a good one.